Hi, welcome to the Shepherd's Rest Dog Talk. This is episode 109B.
I'm Cam and this is Julie.
Yes, this is the Haftarah discussion of this week's Torah portion. And this is the fourth consolation in the group of 7. I didn't post a dog talk last week for the third one. We tried to film one and it didn't work out. And I thought, you know what? We've already gone over all of it. And
it was Noach. Yeah.
Yes. So we reposted that one on the Shepherd's Rest. But for those of you on YouTube, it just seems like we skipped it altogether. But anyway, so this week is Isaiah 51:12 through 52:12. And I thought it'd be a good idea to do a little repetitional recap on Isaiah and the time frame that we're in. Because I know, I'll never forget, when I was studying at Koinonia Institute, Chuck Mesler, he repeats constantly.
Yes.
But I so appreciated that because that's how I learned it. He was just constantly repeating. So
that's how the
what we're
Lord
gonna
teaches.
do. That's right.
And
that's
so
why
we
we
have
do
the Torah
it
portions.
every year.
Right.
That's why everything's in a circle.
Exactly. That's why he has patterns.
That's right. That's right. All right. So Isaiah prophesied in the days of King Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah. And his ministry was from 740 to 690 BCE. So he witnessed the fall and the deportation of the northern kingdom.
Okay.
That was during the time of King Ahaz. But here's what I didn't realize until this week. Well, I knew this, but I didn't know I really knew this, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So after the fall of the northern kingdom, did you know that all of the other cities in Judah, all the other major cities in Judah were also captured? Only Jerusalem remained. And then Hezekiah came along, and once Hezekiah came along and he started to do what he was supposed to do and implementing the Torah and knocking down all the high places, the Assyrian army started to dwindle. Yes, and then it wasn't until, 100 years later that Babylon came and ended up conquering the southern kingdom. But I just thought that was very interesting.
That is interesting.
I didn't realize that they had also started to conquer the southern kingdom, but only Jerusalem remained. And it wasn't until Hezekiah rose up and started doing what he was supposed to do. I don't know. It reminds me of Israel today.
Yeah. So it was literally just Jerusalem?
Just Jerusalem. That's what I read, yes.
I just find that interesting. Here's the only reason why. Well, no, I guess.
They sieged and deported people from every city in Judah except for Jerusalem. Yeah. I'm not saying that the whole thing was taken over.
Right,
except for Jerusalem.
Right, but that
they were able to take captives in every city. And I'm serious. I thought about today.
Yeah.
You know, when Yeshua comes back, he's going to rise up, knock down all the high places.
Right.
And then the Assyrian army is going to be put down.
Because it is the Assyrian who comes back.
Yes. Yes. And and in this week's Torah portion, I was telling Cam, or maybe I said it in her dog talk, was that this is like there's constant words that are repeated. You know, in yours you had a righteous. And in this one we have tons of words that are repeated. So I think we really need to take note of them, because one is of the first redemption that happened after the Babylonian captivity, and the second one is yet to come, and it's coming. So I just think we really need to take note of that. All right, so back to the history lesson. So Hezekiah, we remember Hezekiah, he had the illness, and the Lord said, you're going to die. And then he said, please, I don't want to die. And then the Lord said, okay, fine. And then they had the sign in the heavens, right?
Which is funny.
Because we're doing this, the apex of the eclipse in our area is happening right now.
Yeah.
Which is
That's why
funny.
it seems a little dark.
It's a little bit dark, and it's
going to get brighter, which is opposite of what normally happens.
So it might just get brighter and brighter as my Torah portion goes along. But anyway,
because we're getting more and more light.
So we know that Hezekiah, like I said, he had an illness unto death, prayed that the Lord got the sign in the heavens. The sun went backwards 15 minutes, or 10 degrees is what it says in the Bible, and it's suspected about 15 minutes. Anyway, Babylon saw the sign, sent the emissaries,
saw the sign,
and he showed them all his cards, right?
Right.
Showed him his hand, showed him all the treasuries of Israel in Jerusalem there in the temple, and that ended up coming back to bite him in the butt, because
Yes, it did.
when Babylon came, they knew exactly what they were after and exactly where they needed to go.
Yeah.
All right, now speaking of the double words, remember Isaiah is in two parts.
Yes.
Right. You've got 1 through 39 that is, here's what's coming, there's corruption, destruction's on its way, and then 40 through 66, which are, I'm going to restore you. They're the restoration. They're for the future generations is what they're for. It had nothing to do with the people that Isaiah was prophesying to at the time. And like I said, we are still waiting for that final redemption.
Right.
So 40 through 66 is written for us. So I think let's dive into this week's and let's find out what it's saying to us today.
Okay.
All right, now, just like all the other consolations, this is written to Zion. Okay? Now, I want to say something about Zion, because I know that I keep saying, I think it's like New Jerusalem, right?
Right.
Okay, but what I mean by that is that in the culmination of all things, in the very end, Zion will make up New Jerusalem.
Right.
So I see it kind of like this. My last name is Bryson. Okay, I have 3 girls. 1 lives at home and 2 live outside of the house. Their last names are also Bryson.
Right.
All right, but at their house, they don't have a different name. They're Brysons, but you don't go into their house and say, this is the Brysons' house.
Right.
You only do that at my house.
Right.
So that's how I see New Jerusalem. New Jerusalem is the Brysons' house when all the Brysons are there that make up that
The
house.
Brysons, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
But right now, we're scattered all over the world, but we're still Zion.
Right,
Does
and
that make
that's not-
sense?
Yeah, and that's not removing the fact that sometimes Zion means the physical Zion in Israel.
Right.
And some, because remember, there's multiple
always a
layers.
shadow.
Yeah, there's shadows, there's multiple layers, and the 4 different levels in which Scripture can be read. So, we have to be careful to not go, oh, well, she said that, then it only means that.
That's right. All right, so let's start in 51:12. It says, I. So, he really wants you to know it's him.
Yes.
I am he who comforts you. Who are you that you should be afraid of man that dies and of the Son of Man who is made like grass? So basically what he's saying is, look, this life, everything in this life is going to fade away.
Yeah.
Fear the one who can give you that eternal life. And
Yeah.
by fear, I mean be in awe of that one.
Isn't it Matthew that says, don't be afraid of the one who can hurt your physical, be afraid of the one who holds your eternal, your soul.
Right. And now he's not chastising, he's saying, I will be the one to comfort you.
Right.
So in a way, he's saying there's nothing in this world that's going to satisfy your soul. I'm going to do that in the life to come. And now. All right, now I saw something really interesting starting in 2 for, I think, a timeline of what this particular passage is speaking of.
Oh.
Look in 13, it says, and you have forgotten Yahweh your maker who stretched out the heavens and laid the foundations of the earth. And you continually fear all the day because of the rage of the oppressor. And he has prepared to destroy. And where is the rage of the oppressor? Okay, so before I keep going, what you have is you have Jerusalem, because we're going to see in just a minute, he's going to say Jerusalem, the physical Jerusalem, who is feeling completely defeated. Okay, I would say they are at the end of the tribulation, getting ready to go into the millennium.
Okay.
Because listen to what this next one says. 14 says, so where's the oppressor? That was the last question.
Okay.
It says bowed. He hastens to be loosened, that he should not die in the pit, and that his bread should not fail. All right, well, listen. So let's read in
19.
Revelation, Revelation 20, 1 through 3, it says, and I saw a messenger coming down from the heaven, having the key to the pit of the deep and a great chain in his hand. And he seized the dragon, the serpent of old, who is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. And he threw him into the pit of the deep and shut him up and set a seal on him so that he should lead the nations no more astray until the 1,000 years were ended. And after that, he has to be released for a little while. So to me, I'm like, oh, there's a clue right there. But if you keep reading, it says, but I am Yahweh, your Elohim, stirring up the sea and its waves roar. Yahweh of hosts is his name. And I have put my words in your mouth, and with the shadow of my hand I have covered you. So he's protected.
Yes.
Whoever he's talking to right now has been protected through the oppressor's rage.
Right.
Okay? I have covered you to plant the heavens and lay the foundations of the earth.
So that's what he's been doing.
Yes, he covered these people so they could plant the heavens and lay the foundations of the earth, and to say to Zion, you are my people.
But when we realize, back to the righteous that we had, another one is, it's our deeds are affecting the heavens.
Yes.
They're a testimony to the heavens. I mean, it's not just doing it here. Yeah, it affects everyone here, but it also affects every dimension that we can think of, or that we don't even know to think of.
Yes. I'm starting to understand and to see that there is going to be a lot going on in the kingdom of heaven, in New Jerusalem. It's going to function like we're supposed to function here, but on a crazy 10-dimensional level that I can't understand.
Right.
Right? So now he's going to talk to physical Jerusalem, all right? The woman that's left. It says, awake yourself, rise up, O Jerusalem, you who have drunk at the hand of Yahweh the cup of his wrath. Well, that's the last thing that happens, right? During the tribulation, right before the Messianic era, is the cup of the wrath. They're given that cup. You have drunk the dregs of the cup of reeling and drained it out. And I love, you skip down to 22, and it reminds me of what we talked about in your portion.
Okay.
It says, thus says your master, Yahweh, and your Elohim, who pleads the cause of his people. See, I shall take out of your hand the cup of reeling, the dregs of the cup of my wrath. Never again shall you drink it, and I shall put it into the hand of those who afflict you. So the ones who wanted whatever it is that they wanted to happen to Israel is now going to turn around and happen to them. Yes, just like you said in your Torah portion. So I thought to myself, we as God's people, as Gentiles, really need to think about this.
Yeah.
What do we want to happen to Israel?
Right.
Are we the kind of God-fearing people that wants destruction to happen to Israel and wants bad things to happen to Israel? Or are we the kind of people that are looking and finding ways to give them a drink of water when they're thirsty, give them something to eat when they need something to eat, clothe them when they need clothing? What kind of people are we? Because in the end, that's turned on us.
Right. So as we go through the word, starting to understand more and more how our actions affect others, us keeping the commands, just walking in the ways of the Lord, if it's strengthening Israel, which I would say it is, spiritually, when we're obedient, we are strengthening our brothers there. We are making it more possible for them to see who Messiah is. They're, just all these things. It's making it more possible for them to be prepared for the Lord to return. So, again, it goes back to our actions.
Yes.
What do we want? So while we act towards Torah, we want Torah, we're going to get it, which is going to require Israel to come and walk appropriately.
It's the same idea in the Christian mindset. We understand that prayer can move God to move. Right. That's what we've been taught. Prayer, if we, the prayer of a fervent, a righteous man availeth much, right? When we pray, we're asking God to move on our behalf.
Right.
Well, when we do God's commands and mitzvahs, we are building Israel. It's the same exact thing. It's same exact thing. All right, now it goes on in 52:1, and it says, awake, awake, put on your strength, O Zion.
Another repeat.
Yes, another repeat, yes. Awake, awake, put on your strength, O Zion. Put on your garments of splendor, O Jerusalem, the set-apart city. For no more do the uncircumcised and the unclean come into you. Now, I wonder if this isn't an eternal promise.
Okay.
Because it says, no more do the unclean come among you. And I know that in Isaiah 56, he allows the Gentiles to come to him. I mean, nations are coming all through the millennium.
Right.
But I know when New Jerusalem's here, there's
Jerusalem.
no more uncircumcised, no more unclean, no one
allowed to go in.
It's allowed to go into the gates. So I kind of wonder if that's like eventually this is what Zion is going to look like.
This is the ultimate goal.
Yes, the ultimate goal. Again,
that's a process too.
And in 5, it says, and now, what have I here, declares Yahweh, that my people are taken away for naught. Those who rule over them make them wail, declares Yahweh, and my name is despised all day continually. And I love that because when his people are in exile, his name is despised because they're in exile. Right? He promised they're going to be in this land. So when they're not in there, his name is being misused, yes, like the third commandment. Don't take the Lord's name in vain. But it is being that way because we're not doing what we're supposed to do.
Right. And
kind of full circle.
And kind of on that note, but when we're all together, that is a testimony of him keeping his word.
Yeah.
When we're out, it's a testimony of him keeping his word, because he said, I'm going to scatter you.
Right.
But there's no, we haven't seen the
because they're
conclusion of it.
disobedient.
Right,
So
haven't seen
his
the
name's being
conclusion
despised.
yet.
Right.
So, when, like you said, when we behave properly and the time's right, then he'll pull us in. Wow, what even more of a testimony is going to be to him keeping his word.
Right. Now, 8 is a verse that sages will say is proof of the resurrection.
Okay.
Because it says, the voice of your watchmen, they shall lift up their voices. Together they shout for joy, because eye to eye they see the return of Yahweh to Zion. And that word watchman means the prophets.
Oh, okay.
It's the prophets
Right.
that have been, Isaiah was a watchman and he prophesied what he saw. Jeremiah, all of these people were the watchmen of Israel. And that's what he's saying. They're all going to see it at the same time and shout
Right.
for joy.
And obviously, they have to be there for that.
Yes, so this is definite proof text of a resurrection.
Yeah.
Not that we need proof of it, but,
Right.
in Yeshua's time, that was a huge debate, whether or not there was a resurrection. Because the
Right.
Sadducees didn't believe in one, and they're the ones that controlled the temple mount. Now, I'm going to close with this, because it's a call that was to them back in the first returning from the exile when they were in Babylon, and it's a call for us today. And here's what it says.
Returning from Babylon.
Turn aside. Turn aside. Says it twice. Who knew? Turn aside. Turn aside. Come out from there. Touch not the unclean. Come out of her midst. Be clean, you who bear the vessels of Yahweh. So Babylon did have the vessels
Right.
of the temple, and he was telling it, okay, it's time to come out. Come out. Come out. And now he's telling us the same thing, because we make up the vessels that are going to be in New Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And he's saying the same thing. Come out of her. Come out of Babylon. Right? We see that in Revelation. Yes.
Quit adorning her and come adorn here.
Adorn the right king. And then the promise is that he's going to do this in 12, because it says, for you shall not come out in haste, nor go in flight, for Yahweh is going before you, and the Elohim of Israel is your rear guard. So I kind of almost saw that as, I know it's the wilderness aspect. He was before them and behind them, but I also kind of saw it as at the beginning of the millennium and at the end of the millennium, because you have this battle of Gog and Magog both times. Mm-hmm. So you have the end of this one, which I believe that's where this starts, where Hasatan is bound for the 1,000 years, and he's saying, okay, here I am, now get up, sit down, let's commune together, let's do this right, put on your strength, and he is our strength, right?
Right.
And then it says, and at the end, he's going to do it again. And what I love at the end is that Hasatan is released, and he only goes after those who are far from Israel. Mm-hmm. Those in Israel, he's not even allowed to come near.
Right, he's guarded.
The Lord,
they're guarded.
They
in
are
that
completely
city.
guarded, and they are wiped out before they're allowed to get there. But he sweeps up everybody else. Yeah. So even in the millennium, it's going to be very important that we cling to Israel, cling to Messiah, and want to be as close to him as possible. Yeah. See, now we do it spiritually, and then it'll be physically.
Right.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it. That's all I have.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, it was. I'm really enjoying Isaiah. It's cheery every week that I do it. It's awesome. All right, well, thank you for joining us, and we hope you have a fantastic week. Shalom.